With us having such an interdependent relationship with technology, we should examine it and see how it affects us very closely. This is Modern Technology, Modern Impacts. Continuous interactions with technology have long been associated with many health issues. Anyone can list a few of them, like back, shoulder, and neck pain, high cholesterol, heart problems, eye strain, etc. Although these symptoms are important to consider, treatment and preventative practices are by no means inaccessible or kept secret. New revelations and patterns concerning humans' relationship with technology, however, have emerged in terms of not only of health but of human development. How could one of humanity's many inventions become its own maker's master? Alan Lee states that technology emerges as a non deterministic system of interference that shapes human behavior. In turn, humans react to the non deterministic emergent stimuli that a system of technology spawns. Thus, the description demands a systemic role for technology, with humans increasingly finding themselves in the environment of that system with which they remain coupled, indeed, in loose couplings that often reduce humans to artifacts themselves. Technology has begun to shape its user more than its users are shaping it. Yes, its users determine what to put in a search bar, but the results determined by self emerging algorithms put a much larger effect and possibly a restraint on the user. This also assumes that while the controllability of technology can be achieved at a microscale, where one could assert that the link between designers and the control of artifacts is strict at a macro scale, technology exhibits emergent nonlinear phenomena that render controllability infeasible. Emergent nonlinear phenomena are self occurring in popular online sites. Besides search engines like Google, social media sites, especially Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and even YouTube, also incorporate these algorithms into their users' feeds. While they are originally coded by people, these algorithms then exhibit their self emergent nonlinearity once launched and often must consistently be reprogrammed to have the intended result. What is most important to note here is the fact that these human implemented algorithms often function independently of its coders, and they have the ultimate say on what its audience consumes when using its platform. The amount of interactions like upvotes, views, retweets, etc., that a post will have is entirely controlled by the algorithm of its home website. The content, the message, and the context of the post is entirely unrecognized by the algorithm. It is worth discussing and understanding the fact that the ones and zeros of code influence what we consume. Although all that talks about is the effect of technology on its active users, technology can imprint an effect on individuals who have never had an interaction with technology, such as babies. Regardless of their current independence of the immersive information technologies of today, babies could find themselves becoming the most displaced generation yet. At 3 months old, after their edges and shapes are more or less mastered, babies begin to look toward the internal features of objects. The most common and important features that an infant sees are faces, and herein lies the problem. Some newborns could, ironically, be receiving less face time with their mothers during this critical development period due to the parent spending less time making eye contact with their child due to more time spent looking at her phone. A person's emotional attachment style, the ability or inability to form and maintain secure relationships, will manifest itself in such a way that is dependent on the interactions between the baby and its parents, which implies that holding a baby in one arm and an iPhone in the other subtracts the amount of crucial interactions a newborn would normally have and makes it more likely that the child does not develop a secure emotional attachment style. Mary Aiken offers a major speculation. Over time, people could become less able to interface face to face, less sociable. People could become less likely to form deep bonds with others, less able to feel or give love, and therefore less likely to form lasting relationships, families, and communities. Some could even find physical contact with other human beings problematic and even unwelcome. There could be a domino effect. Subsequent generations could be raised with even less attention, less love, or none at all. Millions of babies getting less eye contact and less one on one attention could result in an evolutionary blip. You could argue that the emotional attachment with our devices is already stronger than our emotional attachment with each other. For example, if you wanted to test this, you could hide from a friend, see how long it takes for them to notice or get worried. Afterwards, you do the same thing again, except this time you hide your friend's phone. Likely, a slight panic would soon ensue, and your friend's anxiety would fluctuate for as long as you willed it. But maybe stronger isn't the right term to use to describe this relationship. Going back to babies, this would be much like a game of peekaboo. Parents playing peekaboo with their infant children are teaching them an incomparably important lesson. Even though the child cannot see his or her mother or father now, it does not mean that they are going away nor that they will not return, which creates a truly stronger relationship. This understanding then allows a child to confidently take in experiences without a parent figure in places such as early educational institutions. Here's another experiment. Send an older child to school without his or her mother, so as you would normally, and then send the said child without his or her phone. Again, the level of distress in the latter situation would likely be comparable to a baby not seeing his or her mother's face behind her own hands. So, while the strengths of relationships still favor the interpersonal, something else must be said about the intensity or dependency of the relationships between humans and technology. Perhaps what some assume to be an addiction is better defined as an insecure relationship. No one would argue that a young child wishes to not be without his or her mother because of an addiction to mothers. Rather, it is the relationship itself that needs improvement. Given the fact that technology has now established more control on people than people have on it, and that individuals without their device visibly become more anxious, this relationship would easily be categorized as abusive if it were between two people, and it shouldn't be considered too differently. If individuals wish to improve their relationship between themselves and technology, it must be treated like an interpersonal relationship and therefore given similar regulations such as time limits and fair control, two things that are frequent in a healthy, secure relationship.